Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome wherever you are. Welcome to the February 3rd, 2014 episode of the AVFM Monday Roundup. I am Dean Esmay, Operations Manager for A Voice for Men. Joining me as always, is the evil labia trader and self-hating misogynist, Dr. Tara Palmatier. Say hi, Dr. T.
Hello.
And the always lovely, gracious, and retiring Paul Elam, publisher of A Voice for Men. Say hello, Paul.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody.
We have a lot on our plate to discuss this Monday, so we've already written a lot on the front page of A Voice for Men on what's going on at Ryerson University. So I don't think we're going to bother talking about that more. Just watch for more about that in the coming days on the front of a page of A Voice for Men. Also, Paul will be starting, is that this week, Paul, a new monthly hangout with Warren Farrell and Tom Golden?
Yes, this Thursday is going to be the first of a monthly series called Mainstream Media Monthly. It's going to have a discussion between Dr. Warren Farrell, Tom Golden, and myself, and this Thursday we will be doing a very manly analysis of Valentine's Day and what it means as a way to kick off. She does have an evil laugh. And so the part of the tagline of this new show, if I could take just a moment, is that we are offering some critical analysis of modern culture without the woman good, man bad necessary paradigm that you find so often in mainstream media, ergo mainstream. So look forward to everybody joining us for that. The Facebook page is there for you to like, as well as our Twitter account, so please follow us there.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that. Now, as for other stories in the news this week, Dr. T was red hot, pun intended, to talk about this one. We have a case of a John Andrew Weldon, who I believe he was in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Florida. Where all good things happen.
All good things happen.
Including lifetime alimony.
Including lifetime alimony. Mr. Weldon.
I think we should just make Florida a penal colony and leave it at that.
Possibly. This man is going to prison for 14 years after he tricked his pregnant girlfriend, Remy Lee, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, Remy, into taking a drug, misoprostol, to cause an abortion. She was 6 weeks pregnant and refused to have an abortion, as Weldon had requested. Take it away, Dr. T. What do you want to say about this?
Okay, well, many things. First of all, her name is either Remy or Remy. I don't know if it's like a demi more pronunciation, but she had been dating John Weldon, whose father, I guess, is a well-known, well-respected, I think, gynecologist. And Remy was not his girlfriend. He was the woman he was cheating on his girlfriend of 5 years with. She works at a gentleman's club. I don't know if that means she's a stripper.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
okay.
It does.
I think that's newspaper. That's MSM code for stripper.
If you haven't heard of Gentlemen's Club, it's otherwise known as a titty bar.
Oh, okay.
Technical term.
Okay. Well, anyway, so he got her pregnant, and look, I don't condone what he did to obtain the drug, which was he forged his father's signature and gave it to her without her knowledge. That is obviously and clearly wrong. But I had some issues with the way the news stories I read covered it. First of all, he was charged with, or they tried to charge him with murdering her unborn child. Basically, he aborted an unwanted pregnancy, which millions of women do every year, and they become very offended if you tell them that they've murdered their unborn child. It's not a child when the woman doesn't want it, it's a fetus, and she's allowed to terminate it, and I'm not making judgments about that, but essentially this man did what women have the freedom to do every single day. And it's very telling to me that this man would go to such lengths just to not be forced into fatherhood. He was sentenced. He has almost a 14-year sentence, which you could argue is less than the 18-year sentence men in similar circumstances who have absolutely no reproductive rights are often faced with.
In other words, faced with 18 years of child support payments for a child they might not want and may not be able to afford.
Or if they decide that they want and want to be a father, that then the women who have essentially disregarded their wishes by forcing them into parenthood may play keep away with the baby and teach the kids to hate them, which I see happen all the time. So I think I did a search for other related stories, and this is I think the only instance I can find where a man was caught doing. I mean, I'm surprised that this hasn't happened more.
I seem to have recalled reading about cases like this before, but since I can't name any off the top of my head, I think we can just go with it. Like you, I can't approve of it, but at the same time, just because slipping somebody a potentially dangerous drug without their knowing just is not ethical in any way, shape, or form.
No.
That said, it is astounding that it's a baby because she supposedly wanted it, and it's not a baby otherwise, and it's some kind of murder or manslaughter because she didn't want it. And more to the point, men do not have reproductive rights in this country, do they?
I think that's the great philosophical point here, Dean. And I think this really, it just speaks to the absolutely insane level of gynocentrism in this culture, when we have struggled mightily for generations to have a philosophical answer to the question, what is life? Whether or not it's a fetus, whether or not it's a child. And what we have actually come up with in legal terms is that it's life if a woman wants it, and if a woman doesn't want it, it's not life. And this case is a perfect example, with them first attempting to charge this young man with attempted murder. And I'll go along with both of the rest of you. I don't have any defense for what he did. It was wrong, but completely and totally wrong to slip anybody a drug that would end a pregnancy or otherwise. But 14 years based on an action that she can take on a whim and have the state pay for, should she have chosen to, get out of here. This is insane. It is just actually proof that when it comes to any question you want in this culture, the answer is left up to the whims of a woman. And I don't think that's an overstatement. If this isn't a proof of it, nothing is.
I can just hear a lot of people saying what a bastard this guy is, but if you dare say something like that to a woman who chooses to abort, who just says, I don't feel ready to be a mother, I'm not that place in my life, I'm not financially ready for that, etc., 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 we don't shame her and treat her like shit. Yeah. Any man who says something like this is just a total dirtbag, right? At least that seems to be the way the thinking goes.
Well, and I'm speculating here, but I have to wonder how eager this woman would have been to have this child and carry it to term and raise it if the father hadn't been the son of a well-to-do, prominent local physician who was studying biomedical sciences to become a practitioner as well.
Well, you can bet your ass she didn't plan on sliding up and down that pole with a big old belly sticking out there.
No, you can certainly, you're absolutely right about that. This is something we've talked about in the men's rights movement. I've been surprised how often I've run across people who get angry at the concept, but it's most of our view that a woman should get a man's consent before having his baby. Otherwise, her body, her choice, her responsibility. He should have the right to say, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm sorry. My own position would be that while I'm personally against abortion, if it's going to be a right, and there doesn't seem to be any sign that that's going to change in the law anytime soon, then the man should still have the same right to say, you know what, I want out. You want to have it, fine. I owe you half the abortion-related expenses, and good luck with that. And that should be the end of his rights as well as his obligation. Now, if he says, please have the baby, and I'm going to do everything I can to support you and the child, now you have another situation to deal with. But if he wants out, he ought to be allowed out. And things like this strike me as not much different from the coat hanger abortion concept. I mean, in an act of desperation, he wanted out, and he did something foolish.
Well, and that's where the TradCon conservatives will write in to defend feminists and their agenda. Every time they will maybe scream about abortion being wrong, but at the same time, while we extend the right to decide what is human life and what is not to a titty dancer, we have conservatives rushing in to defend them in their choices to enslave men for 18 years because they were lucky enough to grab a little bit of their sperm. Yeah, same old, same old.
It is my actual opinion that whatever your opinion of abortion, I actually think that if women were not able to just demand support and have the state give that to them, you actually would see fewer unplanned, unwanted pregnancies. Because
cut off welfare and cut off federal funding of abortions, and abortion rate will drop like a prom dress.
Yeah. Or just in general, look, if you have that child, we're not paying extra for you to keep doing that. You want some kind of emergency state assistance, you'd better show that you are on some sort of contraception or something like that. Or, you know, there's the thing, there's so many options for a woman to adopt or otherwise get rid of a child she doesn't want. But at the same time, she can trap a man anytime she wants to. I mean, men don't even lose on the other end of this. There's two stories I linked in this week's article, which are in the low bar and on A Voice for Men. There's two different cases that have just been in the news in the last couple of years of men who a woman grew pregnant, got herself pregnant by him, and then decided she did not want him involved. Had the baby, in both cases lied to him, had the baby, and then gave the child up for adoption without even asking him. One of them, Terry, I hope I'm saying his name right, Terry Chain, waged a 2-year battle to get his daughter back when he found out she existed. He finally won after an enormous amount of personal anguish and money. And then there's another case of a Cody O'Day who spent a couple of years going through the same grinder, and there's links to his case and his child's case there, and he lost. His child was given up for adoption without his consent, and he found out about it shortly after it was born, and it didn't matter. He never got to see his daughter, and he was ready to adopt that child and let the mother go. Both men were ready to take the child and let the woman out completely, and the state and the mother tried to deny it from them. And once
Dean,
again,
that can't possibly be, though, because all men want is sex, sports, and suds.
Yeah, that's right. And if they didn't want it, they should have kept it in their pants. Oh, wait a minute, he did want it. Never mind, he doesn't have any rights there either, does he? Women have all the reproductive rights in this country. They just do. And I'm often stunned by how often I'll hear people say, if he didn't want to be a father, he shouldn't have kept it in his pants.
Well, you know what? That is. I'm sorry. That is such a sophomoric argument. How about she kept her legs crossed, or how about sometimes birth control isn't 100% effective.
That's slut shaming. You're slut shaming.
That's right. I'm not slut shaming. I'm making an equally juvenile counterpoint.
That's right. You want equality. Equality swings in more than one direction. I'm sorry. And it's astounding how little we pay attention to men's feelings, men's rights, men's, anything. Basically, if it bugs the man, it doesn't matter. Her choice, his responsibility. That's just where society seems to come down.
Her choice, his wallet.
Her choice, his wallet. Her choice, his emotions. It doesn't matter if he loved that child or wanted to be desperately to be a father. Well, tough titty. She wanted the child gone. Child's just gone. Doesn't even think about it. And it's sad all around. I'm not sure what else to say about it except that we want to see it change. So there's that.
Change would be good.
Change would be very good, and I think we're going to see some kind of change in our lifetime. Although I suspect this is the last issue. I mean, of all the things we talk about on the men's rights movement, the men's human rights movement, this is the most controversial, and it's probably going to be the longest one to see a change on. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of adoption, we have in the news Woody Allen, Hollywood director Woody Allen is in the news again. Now, I don't care what anybody's opinion is of Woody Allen's films. I like some of them. I detest some of them. I think he's kind of fucked and strange in the head, but who cares? The bottom line is Woody Allen's adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow, she's 27 now, and has come out with a public letter, published in Variety of all places, a big Hollywood rag, saying that when she was 7, Woody Allen raped her.
That's where I take all my abuse issues.
To the pages of Variety magazine.
Absolutely.
And Vanity Fair, and yes.
It's good therapy. Hey, look, I got to say, look, the guy married his adopted daughter.
Stepdaughter.
That is freaky. I don't care.
But not even his stepdaughter, because he was never married to Mia Farrow.
That's
Suni's
true.
adopted father is Andre Previn. Look, I'm not it's a fucked up dynamic. It's like he essentially dated his girlfriend, his longtime girlfriend's 19 or 21-year-old daughter. There's an age dispute because there were conflicting birth dates on her adoption papers from Korea. But I think it's unlikely that he molested his adopted daughter, Dylan, who has since changed her name to Malone. And then his other adopted son, Satchel, who changed his name to Ronan, who now might be the offspring of Frank Sinatra. So Mia, by the way, who was 20 when she married a 50-something-year-old Frank Sinatra, but yet thinks it's so disgusting and awful, the age gap between Woody Allen and Suni. I'm just saying, I've observed a lot of behaviors in the press, and I've read some of this stuff, and I think that this very likely could be a case of false allegations, implanting false memories, and a war that Mia Farrow has been raging ever since Woody Allen very publicly rejected her.
Boy, has she
for her adopted daughter. And I think she is still waging that war, and I think that her adult children, adopted or otherwise, are the casualties in it.
Well, we can't know for sure, but Woody Allen deserves the presumption of innocence here.
Yep.
And
no, I don't know for sure either. I just know from what I've read, it's like it sounds an awful lot like the false allegation reports I read. There's conflicting stories, conflicting dates and times. The thing about telling a lot of lies is eventually you can't keep them straight anymore.
The fact is that after this came out today, it was late yesterday, I think. Woody Allen came out with a response to Dylan's assertions and notes, this was 20 years ago, and when this was all when Dylan was 7. And he notes that the court looked at this. Imagine, a court actually looked at this and found that Dylan at the time, who was 7, had difficulty distinguishing reality from fantasy and could not find any evidence that she had been abused when they looked at it contemporaneously than 20 years ago. So that actually lends credence to the theory that as some parents do, but I don't know if as some mothers do, she hated her ex and used the children as a weapon, and may have damaged this child as a weapon. That is at least as plausible, if not more likely, than the idea that Woody Allen, whatever his weirdness, would actually rape a 7-year-old.
I'm going to say this, and then I promise I'm going to shut up about this subject. This is clearly absolutely top-level Hollywood dysfunctional family. The whole lot of them are crazy. Mia Farrow's a fucking nutbag from hell that has tried to make everybody around her miserable and has succeeded in a lot of cases. Woody Allen is freaking strange. I don't care what anybody says. In the end, he deserves the presumption of innocence, but in the real end, I don't give a shit. These are celebrity problems of people that could give a rat's ass, and there are thousands of times more horrific things going on to average men every day in this culture, and they won't get the benefit of 2 lines in one of these publications. So, Woody, have fun. Sorry, hope it works out for you, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I was actually the one who suggested the story, and then I said, I'm not even sure I want to talk about it. But it's in the news.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. I like you. I'm tempted. Like you, I mostly feel, wow, Hollywood fucked hardery again. How often does that happen? I'm more broke up over the fact that Philip Seymour Hoffman died yesterday than I am any of this crap.
That was a loss.
It actually was. Most people, I think, still, I used to tell people all the time, Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's one of my favorite actors, and they're like, who? And I'm like, you've seen him in a dozen things, and you just never notice because he's always different. What a massive talent as an actor. But this hangout's not about him. But well,
we can do a little. We can do an in memoriam reel at the end.
This is what we're saying, dude. Yeah. So yeah, we'll only just say again, we believe that Woody Allen, whatever his fucktardery, crazy Hollywood bullshit is, he deserves the presumption of innocence. And just because some child says 20 years ago they sort of remember somebody doing something, that doesn't mean it happened.
Yeah, I think I saw a petition on change.org just yesterday, as a matter of fact, of a woman who is trying to undo a lie that put her father in prison, who's been there for 10 years.
Is that the gentleman in New York?
Yeah,
whose wife
has
was
over
the drug
100,000
addict?
signatures. Yeah, and she's trying to straighten out her mess after the guy's been in jail for 10 years. That's the guy we probably should have been talking about, but maybe we can catch that next week.
We probably can, actually. I can't remember his name, but her name, Shania Kelly, I have tried contacting her. I haven't got an answer yet. I will keep trying. Yeah, she says her mother coached her into lying and saying her daddy forced her to have sex with him when she was about the same age, around 7. And she now, many years later, says this was a lie. This never happened. My mother coached me into doing this, and I believed it for a while, but I came to realize, no, it just didn't happen. And that man is still in prison, and they are ignoring the fact that the man was convicted entirely on her testimony, and she is now saying this never happened. So maybe we will bring that up next time. I am still trying to get a hold of her, and if anybody knows how to get a hold of Shania Kelly, let me know. So finally, we had a funny article on the front page of A Voice for Men that some people didn't understand was funny. It looks like our old friend, the brilliant light of all third-wave feminist thinking, Jessica Valenti, has discovered a new slogan for her feminism now, hasn't she?
Back the fuck up.
Back the fuck up. I couldn't get through the article. Did either of you actually read the entire article on The Nation?
No.
Yes, I did. And what it amounted to was Jessica Valenti saying they needed sort of like an original slogan, not like fuck their shit up, but something original, like back the fuck up. Not that she would.
Back the fuck up so I can lean in.
Yep, it's just like it's not that she would try to steal from John the Other or from the men's rights movement or anything like that. She's an original thinker, this woman. She's taken original ideas and moved forward with them. And this one is basically, to condense it all down into what it actually is a mantra to repeat to people that anytime feminists want something, you better get out of their way. If they want this or that, back the fuck up. You know, the only place I want to see Jessica Valenti back the fuck up is on the edge of a train platform.
Hope somebody's got a doggy barking. Anyway, yeah. Jessica Valenti, in case anybody doesn't know, yeah, apparently she writes for The Nation now. I don't know if she's writing there regularly or just sometimes. She's also a founder of something called Feministing. And I think the women at Feministing have been rather annoyed with us ever since we passed them up on the Alexa rankings over a year ago. And I think they've been struggling to find some sort of relevancy when they don't have it.
Maybe Back the Fuck Up is about their Alexa ranking, or
about their page rank.
or about their computer files. Maybe that's what it's about. Back it the fuck up.
I think it's about their digestive tracts myself.
That is a bit constipated of her, isn't it?
They are.
Oh yeah, Jessica, you need to try. What is that special kind of yogurt?
Metamucil, Mama Mucil, probiotics.
Probiotic yogurt. Let's get Jessica some probiotic yogurt. Feministing is one of the most. Okay, it's one of the most obnoxious of the websites. It's not quite as shallow and stupid as Jezebel. But that's a really low bar. Yeah, I was going to say it's a really low bar.
The bar is so low you're going to trip over it.
We're going to need a micrometer to get after that one, Dean.
Yeah.
Or an ant that you can outfit with some gear and he can go scouting for you.
Yeah. It's sort of like saying, well, you're not as weird as Pee Wee Herman, but that too is a low bar. We're making a big deal out of it, I guess, because a few years ago, AVFM adopted as its official slogan FTSU, which is fuck their shit up, which every time we use it, some fucking moron interprets it as a threat of violence. And they've been doing that for 2 or 3 years now.
I got to say something corrective there. FTSU was never the official slogan of A Voice for Men.
I said unofficial, didn't I?
I thought you said official. Maybe I misunderstood. It was just part of the vernacular that emerged from an article from John the Other, in which he proclaimed that he was tired of negotiating and compromising and trying to reason with people that did not have interest in any of those things, and that it was his mission from that point on to simply fuck their shit up, meaning we're going to expose your lies and expose your corruption and put the light of day on it and show the world what you're really about, not near as well as they can show us, like they did in Toronto and like they're doing in Ryerson now. But that's all it ever meant. But we're very flattered, Jessica, and gosh, I hope...
Well, you know, what is it? Imitation is a form of flattery. Is that right?
Yes,
right.
And in some cases it's a form of... In some cases it's a form of flatulence. And I'd have to give that to Valenti right now. This is just hot gas from another feminist that's rehashing the same tired old story that if feminists want something, then everybody needs to get out of their way or either bend over backwards and help them get it because they're powerful, independent women. Yeah, screw you.
It's I'm struggling to think exactly how to say this. It's like they appear to think that fuck their back the fuck up. Back the fuck up from what? Who is approaching them? Who would want to approach one of these obnoxious harridans in the first place? Who's getting in their way? Who? I guess they can say, oh, the religious rights. Yeah, right. In what way are you actually getting in their way other than fucking their shit up by calling them out on their bullshit? I mean, seriously, they can ignore you.
Jessica Valenti reminds me of a former client. I didn't work with her for very long. It was when I was still... That didn't even occur to me. Thank you, misogynistic-y bastard. Great little... Love it. But this was when I was still doing couples counseling, and this woman, who I suspect was incredibly narcissistic, they were wanting to talk about a divorce, and the husband was saying, you know, you're going to need to go back to work, and no, my lifestyle isn't going to change. And I very gently asked her to tell me what kind of math she was doing that she thought all of this would be possible. And she said, I shouldn't have to work because he made promises, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, okay, but most people, being logical, being reasonable. And I said, what makes you think you're exempt from having to support yourself like most other adults? And she said, because I'm entitled, like it was a good thing. Like that was something to be proud of, and that's why this client, or Jessica Valenti, calls to mind that moment. Back the fuck up, get out of my way.
Because
I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to be reasonable. I don't have to think about your feelings, your needs, your rights. Back the fuck up. Nice.
Jack.
And I sometimes think that if I wanted to, torture somebody, I would lock them in a room with Jessica Valenti for an hour and not let them out. I will be more than happy to back the fuck up if I'm anywhere within a half mile of her. Because what an obnoxious, bigoted asshole she is. But I really struggle. Who's actually in her way? Who's stopping her from doing jack shit that she wants to do in terms of her personal life and her personal choices? Okay, so there's some conservatives who for 50 years now have been failing to get Roe v. Wade overturned in the Supreme Court. Okay, so, there's a way you do that. You go and slug it out in court. Other than that, who needs to back off? They're not even, I doubt if they're approaching her on the street, so it seems incoherent.
It is.
And it's because most of what they talk about is bullshit. It's entitled bullshit.
It is absolutely essential to the victim narrative for Jessica Valenti to have some boogeyman out there that she needs to instruct to stand out of her way as a woman. I was really hoping. She spit out a kid a couple of years ago, and I was hoping the experience of having to give a fuck about something other than herself might have instilled some humility.
All that did was turn her uterus into gold.
Absolutely. That's what it did, and that's the development of a narcissist. Many, many women, I would say most of them, mature as a result of having a child in some way or another. This happens a lot.
Or they fancy themselves gods who gave life.
One of the two.
And they own that life. God damn it.
Jessica Valenti has come back from childbearing to show us all exactly the lesson that motherhood has taught her, which is to be an entitled. Yes. Look at my pussy. I run the world. Back the fuck up.
I don't see that working out well for her, because the truth of the matter is...
I don't see her working out well for her child, but what else?
No, I don't either. If it's
or
a boy...
her husband, God help him.
Does she have one of those? It could be. I don't know.
She does.
Yes, she keeps him in the corner with the plastic fern.
Well, see, it's funny to think about it, too. With this sort of attitude about the world, let's see, if she has a boy, oh my God, God help him. The evil little patriarchal bastard will be oppressing her.
I wonder if she took him to his first mommy and my future life as a rapist class.
And if it's a daughter, she's going to help fuck that daughter up into being a narcissistic little bitch.
In my experience, narcissist children often become borderlines, and then the cycle repeats and perpetuates. But no, sometimes they spawn other narcissists. So it's a coin toss. Or she might grow up to be one of those women who talk about how her feminist mother was a horrible human being. Like I forget that, is it Alice?
Alice Walker's daughter came out.
Yes.
That. Yeah. Although, in deference to this innocent child who has done nothing wrong, we should probably note that although children of fucked up psychotic parents do frequently turn out fucked up and psychotic themselves, the majority do not.
No, most of them grow up to be codependents who then get hooked up with other psychotic people who abuse them again.
Some of us wind up okay.
The future is not bright, folks.
So actually, what Dr. T is obviously saying is she wants more Dr. Jessica Valentis in the world. That way, her caseload will never go down.
No,
No.
no, that's not
I
what
don't
I
think
meant.
she's in any danger of that at the moment.
No.
Unfortunately, with the way our culture is right now in the family courts, I kind of have job security that, frankly, I would rather spend the rest of my days just helping people get over mild depressions and learn better coping skills and not have to hear about the tragedy and violence of false allegations and fathers who can't be the loving parents that they want to be. That would be a happy day for me.
I imagine it would be. Obviously, I was teasing you. Even if all codependent, bipolar personalities, narcissists disappeared off the planet tomorrow, you'd have 30 years of helping people recover anyway. So I don't think you're in any actual danger there. Okay. Well, we've covered all the news topics we want.
No, we haven't. We haven't. No. We need to go down under.
We got to talk about.
There's a twit from the land down under.
Oh,
Hannah Nicole Smith.
Hannah Nicole Smith. Her name is just okay. Hannah Smith. Actually, I don't think her middle name is Nicole, but Hannah Smith.
Yeah, I looked at her chest. It wasn't.
Oh, you bad patriarchal sexist pig. Hannah Smith of the she's at the University of Sydney down in. I imagine the University of Sydney is probably in or near Sydney. But I don't think it's as significant that she's with the University of Sydney so much as that she's the women's coordinator for the National Union of Students. Because she's very proud of that position. Now, I don't know how many American universities have student unions. They have them. There's a big national student union in Canada called.
She's so proud of being part of the student union that she's failing out of her courses because she's spending too much time at the student union.
That's not
genius.
A joke, that's real.
That is not a joke.
That's not even a joke. She's a genius.
She actually proudly says at the top of her recent writing about this that she is the New South Wales president of the National Union of Students, and she is the proud stepmother of a sausage dog, and is failing her political science and economics degree because of her passion for student unionism.
Let's see, economics, that requires logic and
math. And thinking about hard things. And this hateful bigot got upset at a horrible poster that says, "You don't hate and fear men, do you? Do you? Men's rights are human rights." And she was so upset at this horrific message that she...
It's the apocalypse! It's the
apocalypse! She had to not only tear the poster down, but she was getting wanting others in the student union and other women she knows to go around and rip down these posters saying men's rights are human rights. And then I loved her ending. She says, "The person who saw these at our university tore them down. I will be doing the same and encouraging others to do so. Some will disagree with this tactic because it stifles debate and free speech." And I love this. Oh, you can tell she's a good math student. "But I know there is no debate to be had. The stats and figures speak for themselves."
Oh, we've been killed by her truth. Oh, by the way, we need to give a big shout out to Men's Rights Sydney, who are the people responsible. That's mensrightssydney.com. They're the people responsible for putting the posters up at the uterus of Sydney. I'm sorry, the University of Sydney.
This happened at another Australian university maybe a year and a half ago. Which one was
Monash.
it? Monash. I had the idea, which never came to fruition, which I'm still upset about. I wanted Paul to do a donation drive to hire an airplane to drop pamphlets, the posters as pamphlets, onto the Monash University and have a film crew, which then we could score the video footage to the Flight of the Valkyrie.
And I want you to know that we actually did investigate the possibility of doing that, and it came against a littering ordinance that would have made it illegal.
How much would the fine have been? How much would the fine have been, though?
It wasn't a matter of the fine.
If the fine was under $1,000, I would have paid it.
If we could have gotten away for $1,000 or $2 on the fine, we probably would have done it. But the problem was getting a company with somebody with a pilot's license to intentionally break the law. And we asked, they wouldn't do it. But I wanted to do that. I wanted to prevent.
Maybe the laws in Sydney are different. Hint, hint. Men's rights, Sydney.
Hey, are there any?
Right, Sydney? Hey.
Are there any crazy bush pilots out there? Are there any crazy bush pilots out there who want to just make a run past Sydney real quick for us?
And what we'll do is we'll print 50,000 fortune cookie slips that say men's rights are human rights, and on the back it'll say, we have statistics too. And we'll just dump all those out of the plane onto the campus.
Except we don't actually pull our statistics from our posteriors.
No, I think that the organization of university students or whatever, NUS or whatever the hell they call themselves,
NUS, yeah.
I think they're telling us to back the fuck up.
We're not going to, because guess what, Hannah? If you had spent 10 minutes just asking some questions or doing a little research, as Dr. Greg Canning has laid out so many times on the front pages of Voice for Men, you're right, there is no debate to be had, because on so many of our issues, it's very clear that men are getting the short end of the stick, period. There are a few areas where it's debatable.
Anyway, because we roll that way.
There's an area here or there where there's some wiggle room for a debate, like, are men merely a third of the victims of domestic violence or a full half? That's a debatable proposition. The fact that men don't live as long, the fact that there's more funding for women's health issues, the fact that men have no reproductive rights, there is no that men are more likely to suicide. I could go on. There's a whole lot of issues where there is no debate.
The fact that you could run around and tear those posters down and not fuck all.
Although I gotta say, I love it when they publicly confess to destroying property. Thank you. Or any law enforcement officials who may be paying attention. And she's inciting others to destroy property as well. Just thought I'd point that out.
And it's the classic fascist.
And of course, by us pointing that out, we're doxing her and outing her, even though she's publicly made those statements ourselves. At least that's what the University of Toronto feminists claimed when you republished their tweets where they were admitting doing that.
Oh yeah, we're all doxing now. Listen, I had an idea. I wanted to maybe start a segment of this program every week that we do called Feminist Turd of the Week, but I can't pick. There's so many this week, so we're going to have to...
It's an embarrassment of riches, or is it...
Yes, it is. We're going to have to wait till next week, folks. So if feminists will calm down from the routine, we can maybe this week just select one and have a turd of the week then, on next month.
Hannah should know that she is joining a rich, vibrant tradition of religious ideologues, fascist ideologues, communist ideologues, book burners from around the world who when they see the ideas they don't like, they rip them apart, set them on fire, do anything to keep people from hearing ideas that they don't like.
Well, and the level of narcissism and self-importance in hers, there was one paragraph where she wasn't going to even deign to give the silly MRAs the attention of destroying their posters or talking about it publicly. But after conferring with her housemates, she realized the importance. And she
was that the sausage dog she talked to?
Well, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But she felt honor bound to make her bigotry public, I guess, but just
kind of strange about the idea of her having a sausage dog to begin with. That's another subject.
I can virtually guarantee you.
Penis envy.
I can virtually guarantee you that any of her friends who she talked to about this in advance or after the fact, at least one or two of her friends said, of her ripping the posters down. That was very brave. Fuck you. No, it wasn't. It was rank cowardice and thuggery. Thank you very much. That's what it was. Rank cowardice and thuggery.
Hey, man, she tore a poster down, then wrote about it on the internet, even though she didn't want to give people attention by talking about it. She talked about not talking about it on the internet. Sounds like a feminist to me.
I can't think of anything else to say, but oh my God, this woman is not just an idiot; she's a thug. And
so will she still get to be president of the student union if she flunks out of school?
Well, she's not president of the student union. She's the women's officer or whatever.
Whatever the hell she is.
Yeah, no kidding. So we have an article about it on A Voice for Men. I made sure to tweet it to her union and to student union and to a reporter at The Economist, or I think it's the Advertiser down there in Sydney.
God, they call me the misogynistic-y bastard.
Yeah, I actually was so horribly stalky, rapey, threatening, and doxying. I actually, went and tweeted to a reporter and asked if his paper supported this sort of thing. Miles Kemp, I hope you're watching. Bye. All right. of the Advertiser. Anyway.
Oh, I got one of his obnoxious tweets the other day. Wasn't he the one that was...
he was white knighting for Tory Shepard, the notorious lying yellow journalist.
He was saying, Dean Esmay, don't smart.
Yeah. And making a big deal out of the word mangina, which we don't use too often. But I'm like, oh, you got virgin ears there, do you? Down under. But I don't even use that word much. But never mind. He's very obsessed with manginas. I think he's got a problem there. Anything other than talk about the issues, right, guys? Now, he was white knighting for Tory Shepard, his compatriot and professional liar journalist who's discrediting every other journalist he works with.
Dean, back the fuck up.
Back the fuck up, dude.
Let Tory Shepard lie. She's a girl.
If a feminist wants to lie, don't you stand in her way.
That's right.
Controlling oppressor.
That's right. All right, guys. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I just want to observe that in everything that we've covered today on the show, the many subjects, the theme is the same, folks. The theme is men shut up, women rule the world, women make all the decisions, women are what counts, you don't count for shit, you never have counted for shit. You're not even worthy to have your own child. You're not worthy to speak your voice about political positions or about facts of life. You're not allowed to have a voice on a university or in the media or indeed in your own family. And if you think you do, you just listen to Jessica Valenti, who's not saying back the fuck up. She's saying shut the fuck up. That's what all feminists say to any man and to anybody who disagrees with them, and that's why it's so important, guys. Don't shut the fuck up. When they tell you to shut up, talk louder. And when they say shut up again, talk louder still. Don't ever shut up. We're not going to.
Dr. G, any closing thoughts for the week?
No.
She never does, but I always ask.
I said it all. I said everything I needed to say, so no reason to belabor it.
She has that cool that you can't beat. She's like, what? I already spoke.
I've already spoken, motherfucker. What else did you want?
And then you ask her, what do you want me to do?
What? Both of you can back the fuck up. How's that? That's a double BTFU.
In your case, I'll do it.
All right, you win. All right, everybody, make sure to check out Mainstream Media on Thursday with Dr. Warren Farrell, Tom Golden, and Paul Elam, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye, especially bye-bye to you, Hannah Smith and Tori Shepard. We love you. Mwah.